Welcome back, Focus learners, to another explainer. Today, we're taking a concept that, let's be honest, most of us completely dread, and we're flipping it on its head. I'm talking about discipline. For so many of us, the word discipline just sounds like a punishment, right? Like something restrictive or even suffocating. But what if we've been looking at it entirely backwards? What if, instead of being this mental cage, discipline is actually the ultimate key to your personal freedom? In this explainer, we're going to unpack the entire architecture of self-mastery, and we'll discover exactly why discipline literally equals power. Okay, let's dive right into this. How many times have you looked in the mirror and just known, deep down, that you could do so much more? And, more importantly, how many times have you let that exact chance to change your life completely slip by, just because staying in your comfort zone was, well, easier? It's a tough question for sure, but it is absolutely essential. We constantly crave growth, but we stay rooted in our safety zones because taking real action is incredibly hard. So today, we're going to look at exactly how to break those mental shackles and finally stop letting those life-changing opportunities pass us by. Which brings us to part 1, the illusion of comfort. Let's face it, life isn't a constant party. Now, what's really interesting here is that we have to confront a massive myth right off the bat, this idea that success relies on feeling good. Think about the difference between dreamers and winners. The core difference isn't talent. It definitely isn't luck. You see, dreamers wait for the perfect conditions. They wait for the right mood, that perfect surge of energy, or for the stars to completely align. Winners, on the other hand, they act regardless of how they feel. Are you exhausted today? Are you discouraged? Are your muscles aching and your brain is just screaming at you to give up? Well, welcome to the club. The defining characteristic of a winner is that they take action despite all of those perfectly valid, totally normal feelings. To truly wrap our heads around this, we really need to strip away all the glamour. The source material makes this painfully, brilliantly clear. Discipline is a trench. It is absolutely not some luxurious spa where you just kick back, light a few lavender candles, and feel good about yourself. No way. Discipline is a trench. It's this gritty, totally unglamorous place where you come face to face with your own inner demons. Because it's right there, in that trench, that you make the ultimate choice. Are you going to control your destiny, or are you going to let life completely dominate you? Moving on to Section 2, the discipline muscle. It's time to train the mind and the body. So the crucial point is that discipline isn't some magical talent you're just randomly born with. As our source defines it, discipline is acting despite how you feel. It's the actual fuel that ignites your internal fire. I want you to think of it exactly like a muscle. If you don't train it, it simply won't grow. It needs to be exercised. It needs to be challenged constantly. It's really not about doing what you like doing. It's about doing what you absolutely need to do. When you face the pain and you actually lean into the fatigue, that discipline becomes the literal fuel keeping your internal fire burning. It pushes you forward even when your motivation runs completely dry. So how do we actually exercise this muscle? Well, the source outlines a very clear progression for your day. First, you start by confronting those inner demons and facing your fears head on. Next, you deliberately leave the easy path behind so you can take the uphill path. You choose the hard, correct action. Now, human beings are naturally wired to seek out the path of least resistance, right? But true self-mastery requires actively walking away from that easy route. And why is that? Because the easy path actually ends up being so much longer and infinitely more painful in the long run. By deliberately choosing that uphill climb, you are literally tearing and rebuilding that discipline muscle so it grows much, much stronger. And that brings us to a really stark contrast: momentary pleasure versus eternal glory. Look, in today's fast-paced world, everyone is desperately searching for quick fixes. We all want the shortcut, the life hack, the cheat code, the easy way out. But listen to me, there are zero shortcuts on the climb to actual success. If we imagine our life's goals as these massive, majestic peaks just waiting to be conquered, you do not reach the summit by seeking momentary comfort. You reach it through relentless, gritty, unglamorous perseverance. Nobody else is going to carry you up that hill, and nobody can do the training for you. It is your own strength and your own unwavering discipline that propels you toward that glory. All right, let's jump into Section 3, the paradox of freedom. This is where we learn why discipline literally equals liberty. And this brilliantly illustrates a highly counterintuitive truth. To quote the source directly, every freedom in your life has a cost, and the price is being disciplined. Think about it. When people see someone waking up at the crack of dawn, or refusing to drink alcohol, or totally avoiding certain vices, they almost always think, wow, that person is trapped in such a rigid, boring life. But the source argues the exact opposite. Strict discipline is the very thing that grants you absolute control over your own life. You aren't doing these things to feel superior to anyone else. You're doing them because you refuse to let anything control you other than yourself. Fundamentally, being disciplined is the truest form of being free. And when you actually achieve that level of freedom, you become what the text calls the architect of destiny. You are completely in charge. But to hold that title, you have to throw all your excuses out the window. You can't complain about how unfair the world is, and you certainly can't blame other people for your circumstances. Every single one of us is the architect of our own destiny, and we have to actively choose the path of responsibility, hard work, and sacrifice. By completely owning your actions and enforcing strict self-discipline, you stop playing the victim of circumstance and you finally start drafting the blueprints for your own life.
Let's move on and see how this all builds in Section 4, Mastering the Routine. We're getting into the daily, practical actions now.
So how do we actually translate all this sweeping, high-level philosophy into everyday reality? Honestly, it comes down to totally unsexy basic habits. Getting up early, preparing your meals, fulfilling your promises, being punctual, completing your daily to-do list. The source makes a great point here. Successful people are exceptionally organized. Applying discipline doesn't just mean waiting around for some dramatic, heroic moment of willpower. It means applying it to the boring, mundane details of everyday life. Keeping your life in order and doing the right things repeatedly at the right times creates a highly efficient day. And the math here is super simple. The more efficient days you can string together over time, the more likely you are to achieve truly monumental success. It's exactly like this quote reminds us. Diets don't work if you don't follow them. Exercise doesn't yield results if you don't practice it. Constant upward growth is a lifestyle. It's not just a one-off event. Look, you don't change your entire life just by watching one single explainer. You change it by turning these principles into an absolutely non-negotiable way of living. It's all about taking those basic foundational principles and applying them over and over and over again until they literally become second nature. Which brings us to the ultimate call to action presented in the text. Rise aggressively and advance boldly towards victory. Seriously, make discipline your best friend, your daily companion. Stop just doing the bare minimum to get by. Try performing every single task with an unexpected, almost crazy level of perfection. When you stop letting your long-term goals waver based on your short-term daily moods, and you instead commit to just smashing through expectations, you unlock a level of personal power that very, very few people will ever experience. So here is my final question for you. Are you ready to unleash that inner beast and conquer every single challenge life throws your way? True self-mastery is right there waiting for you. Stop waiting for the perfect mood. Break those self-imposed chains and start building your destiny today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, Focus Learners. Now, get out there and go master your routine.